Hello, I hope everyone's having a good summer. So here we're going to go over fairy tales and myths, but with pop-up books. So the emphasis on the pop-up. So I have a lot of different examples that I'm going to show you, but I do want to show you some of the examples that I made. So I do have a fairy in a forest. I have a mermaid underwater. I have Jack and the Beanstalk, and I made it so that way the beanstalk actually goes up and down. And then I have a castle. So this one is a little bit more complex, but I can show how to make an easier version. Okay, the materials that you're going to need would be colored pencils or markers. You might want to use both. If you have Sharpies, that works too. Elmer's glue, a pencil, eraser, a ruler, scissors, a paper clip, and scrap paper. Here I have tested some of the markers just to get a feel for what the colors would do. Okay, so right now I want to go over a whole bunch of different fairy tales and myths with you. So if you want, you could pause this if there's one that really inspires you, or you could go through if you know which myth it is you want to do. So here I have Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's another version of that. And another, because I like the different styles and the way that they did them. So I include them. The old woman in the shoe. She had so many children she didn't know what to do. This is different style. You can do a whole bunch of different styles of shoes too. This one technically isn't a fairy tale, but by Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. So here she is at the Mad Hatter's tea party. She looks like she's not having it. There's the Mad Hatter giving one of his little speeches. And there she is with some of the other characters that she's encountered during her adventures. If you get a chance, read those books. They're a lot different from the movie. There's the caterpillar. So here's Rapunzel, another version, and another. The Ugly Duckling, we all know this story. So I chose a little bit different in color there. Here's Little Red Riding Hood. The Three Little Pigs. So this one's an American tale. So Paul Bunyan and Blue Ox, Babe the Blue Ox. Here's the Pied Piper. When he led the rats out, and then when they didn't pay him, he took the kids. There's Jack and the Beanstalk. Little Mermaid. There's so many. Pinocchio. Snow White. This is the Snow Queen. This was the inspiration for Elsa. So now here's a whole bunch of different mythological animals. So these are griffins. That's a manticore. So it's part lion, has eagle wings and a scorpion tail. So this is chimera. So it's got the head of a lion, body of a goat, and then the snake end. So there's a couple more. Some of these are really interesting looking. This is a cockatrice. So staring at it would turn you into stone. I know, the idea of a big chicken doesn't seem too scary, but then again, most dinosaurs were kind of chickens or birds. So this is Cerberus. This is the dog of Hades. So I'm going to try to do this one. So here I have different goblins and gremlins and I don't know what they are. So this is an ogre or an orc. So you can go with a wide variety of different things. So yeah, this is a gremlin. It's a troll? I don't know. And I have a couple cuter versions of these animals. There's so many. So there's some dragons. That's a werven. Phoenix. So I had a couple different versions of it, so I wanted to put a few there. A harpy. This is Cthulhu. And speaking of tentacles, this is a kraken. Kraken were the sea monsters that would destroy sea vessels in the ocean. So this is the story of Hercules, not Hercules, Odysseus, what he had to, his journeys to get back home. So this is Perseus when he's turning the Kraken to stone because he has Medusa's head, and he saved Persephone. So speaking of Medusa, so I have some very contemporary modern versions there. And that's another thing, you can totally make these as modern as you want. So this is the Cyclops. Again, with Odysseus, one of his first journeys was he had to escape the Cyclops. And they grabbed under the bellies of these really large sheep in order to get out of the cave. And then he blinded them. And the Cyclops' father was Poseidon. And Poseidon got very angry and forced Odysseus into very long journeys to get home. So here's some other Cyclops, very large, menacing looking. Here's the Cyclops when Odysseus is getting away after they hung underneath the sheep. He was hurling boulders at them. Another version. And then this is a very famous painting. I love this version because it has the Cyclops as more of a sympathetic character. So, but again, here's a Tale of Odysseus. And here you have a centaur, which is half man, half animal. So it's not totally tame. It's not totally savage either. So there's another picture. More of the Odysseus tale. Unicorns. I know these are very famous. I don't think I put any pictures of Pegasus up. Oh, there we go. Okay, got a few. Some wizards as well. And I think that's where I ended. So let's go over. Get the camera going there. I'm going to go over how to do this now. So first thing, with your regular, you're going to have one nice piece of paper. You can get a different, stronger quality cardstock, and you're going to want to fold it in half. And when you fold it, you're going to try to take it and match it up as best you can on the edges. And you're going to crease it and press down. And I like to use my thumbnail, my fingernail, so that way I could really get a nice crease. So this will be your good paper. So the next, I actually have a lot of scrap paper that I keep floating around because this will be good for pieces that I'll cut out to turn into the parts that pop up. So I always like to have sketch paper. So this is just flimsy paper. So like the paper for the pop-up book is a little bit stronger in quality. You can use construction paper, things like that. But this is just regular paper that came out of the printer. And I like to use this just to be able to sketch. Throw out your ideas, whatever it is you want. So if you want a Pegasus, a unicorn, if you want different pretty cool animals, this is an opportunity to draw, to sketch. Don't worry about making mistakes. If you make mistakes, that's fine. You have your eraser, and you're welcome to be as imaginative and creative as possible. I made a couple sketches, and I actually placed them onto the good quality paper. I don't know if you could totally see everything from here. So I have a little apple, I have a little character, I don't know what he is, it's a sort of vampire or something. I have parts of a castle, and I made a little Pegasus. So these are already on my good quality paper because I'm ready to go with the next step. So once you have your sketches all figured out, then you can do it onto your good quality paper, and you can make it a little bit, stronger pressing down with the pencil. So like when I sketch here, like whatever animal it is that I'm creating, I'm very loose. I'm not looking and worried about the fine detail. And then I can go over again. Something with a horn, I don't know. And that's the beauty of a sketch, is that you can make mistakes, you can always erase whatever you need to do. Then when I have my idea completely figured out, then I can take my good quality paper and I can draw it on there and, go ahead and do it lightly, and then I can go on a little bit deeper. So like if this is my tower that's going to be for my castle, I can go in a little bit deeper, a little bit darker once I have the basic shape and form figured out. Okay, So once we have that done, I do want to go over a couple of the different types of pop-ups. So here I have how to make a regular pop-up. So I have my paper, I folded it, and I took my ruler and I drew a line that was about 1.5 inches. And then I went down 2 inches and I drew another line that was about 1.5 inches. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut that line that I drew. Now I'm going on both sides of the paper, so if I turn it over you see how I did that. Now when I open this up, I'm going to push this part through and I'm going to press down, and using my fingernail I'm going to press really hard. So now I have a basic pop-up. So I can create and add things onto there. So if I have my little character, if I want him to stand out, I can glue that on. And when I close, just make sure it doesn't go beyond the page. But what I also wanted to show you is how to do a double pop-up. So here I started to draw my little line. And when I have that, once again, I'm not going to cut through both papers. So I'm not going to keep this completely closed. What I am going to do is go through the top part of this big sheet and this small section here. So just this part and this part is what I'm going to cut through. Just a tiny bit more. There we go. And now, when I pop this through and I close it and press down, now I have a double pop. So this would be if I wanted to have, like, I don't know, the poisoned apple on a desk. So I can turn this into my desk, and this can be my poison apple. So before I start to glue everything on, that's the time to decorate and figure out your background. So like, I'm just doing the basics to show you how to create the pop-up here, but then we'll go to the finishing everything up late in a second. So that's the double pop-up. So the opening, another one you could do is a door that opens. So I can take my paper, and I like to use a ruler at all times. Again, I'm going to draw very lightly. So I want this character to kind of be coming through the door. So I'm going to make it so that way he fits. And I'm going to make it, I don't want to go the full distance. I don't want the full height of this because I need to put this on the back. So I'm going to go a little bit lower. And then same thing with this, I'm not going to go the full length. I'm going to shorten it just a little bit. So now, if I draw my line, so this one's about a little bit like under, almost 2 inches, a little bit more. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this door that opens up, and he's going to be behind it. I like to use my X-Acto blade. Now, this is not a toy, and this should not be used by children that are way too young. If you have a parent or an adult that would be willing to do this for you, do it. If you don't, and you need to use scissors, you could do that as well. So if you're going to do it with scissors, what I like to do, sometimes I can, I think if I might have to poke a little bit of a hole here, and then I can start to cut. Generally, I prefer the X-Acto blade, but you know, I understand not everyone's going to be able to do that. So I cut little bits at a time to be able to create the nice long cut there. I'm not going to cut this door completely off, because I want to be able to have it swing open. And this is where the paper clip is going to come into play. So where the door swings, I'm going to take my paper clip and my ruler, and I'm going to line it up, and then I'm going to use the curved edge, and I'm going to press down. And now when I did that, it really folds beautifully. It creates a nice straight edge and a fold. So now I can take my little character that I made, and I can put him behind there, and I would glue it or tape it, and then I would have him coming in or out. You could decorate the door, like I have a little bit of the corner issue here. I could take a little bit of extra paper, and I can create trim around the door. I can go all the way around. This can be like a big wood door. So if I go over here, I can cover that up. So I can have boards of wood going here, I can have one there, and going down that way as well, just to cover up if you make any mistakes. So that's the open door one. And it doesn't have to be just a door, it could be a whole bunch of different things. So, but that's you know, vampires aren't allowed in unless you invite them, so that's why he's kind of waiting outside, you know, until he gets invited in. I'm not going to invite him in. Maybe you would. I don't recommend it though. Okay, so the next one is the sliding part. So this one, I have my piece, I cut a strip like this, and then a triangle. And now I'm going to put a little bit of glue, just a little bit. And this is, I always see people have problems, oh I do too sometimes, with the amount of glue that we put out. So when we do this, always just a tiny bit. Because if you use a lot of glue, it takes forever to dry. And you just got to make a mess. So if I glue that together, so this is where my whatever it is I'm going to have on here that slides across. So I think I'm going to do it this way. So I would want it so that way if I have my character and I want him to slide, so I'm going to put I'm going to mark it here, and here, here, and here. So now I'm going to connect those lines. Just go a little bit extra. So where I put the dots, I'm going a little bit beyond. And this time I'm going to use my X-Acto knife. If you want to use the scissors, you're more than welcome. Oh, and I have a mat underneath, so that way I don't cut up the table. If you don't have a mat, then you can use a piece of cardboard. That would work too. So here, I now have this cut. I wish that was a little bit longer. Okay. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to weave it through. And go through the back and push that through. So that way it now slides. But if I keep going, it'll fall all the way off. So that's why I have I made my little Pegasus. And I'm going to put, again, a tiny bit of glue. Just a little bit. I don't even think I can barely see that. I don't know if you can. And I'm going to put my Pegasus on. And now the Pegasus can fly through the sky. Again, I recommend color your background, do everything beforehand. So this would be the sky, this would be the ground. So one more example that I wanted to show you is I made a little Cerebus. I made my cute little three-headed dog. He doesn't look like he's a guard dog, I don't think. But who knows? Like, we'll have to take a look. So here's my piece of paper. Now I gently drew on where he's living, and it's in Hades. So I drew it on lightly with pencil, but now I'm going to go over a little bit darker with my Sharpie pen. So it's kind of like Hades is this underground kind of place, so I have these stalagmites and stalactites. So, and this is the background, is this one half of the page. So when I thought about the background first, you know, figure that out, draw it out, color it in. My character is made, but he's not attached on yet, so he's not going to interfere with my figuring out and organizing my color scheme, how I'm going to work with the markers or crayons or colored pencils to design my whole scenario. So that's going to be the background. Then I would color it in, probably browns, you know, darker colors. Here's the river, because it's the river Styx. And I have my blue colored pencil. I like colored pencils personally, so that's my thing. And I'm going to take it and I can shade that all in. I'm not going to do the whole thing. You guys are going to do that. Okay, so I've decided I drew my lines. Again, I took my pencil and I took a ruler and I measured it out where I want to cut it. So now I'm going to cut. Now I'll open it up, push it through, and press down. So So now my little doggy's going to sit right over here. And when it closes, he completely is still inside of there. So I'm going to put a little bit, just a little bit of glue. I don't want this to take forever to dry. Oh, my glue's not even coming out. Oh no. Okay, so I have a tiny bit of glue on there, very little. Okay. Put my little dog, my little Cerebus, and I'm placing him on. I made him out of different colored paper, which is another thing you could do if you have construction paper or other kind of quality paper. Because I just like the color scheme of him. Nope, there's not enough glue. I don't know why, but the glue's not coming out. There we go. So just a little bit. Because if the glue smears on the outside, when you close your pop-up book, you don't want it to get stuck. Okay, so there he is. And I made a couple other little things. So one thing I made was a little dog dish. And I guess his name is Cerebus. So, but I don't know what we're going to call it. I'm not going to put the name there yet, but I'm going to color it in. This is his water dish. And again, I need another one where it's going to have to stick out. This is where it gets a little bit trickier, because what I need is, I'm going to have another one. Now, I'm not measuring it. You should. Okay. This one's not coming out as far. You can have more than one. So now I'm going to take a tiny bit of glue. Put that there. So there's his water bowl. Fresh water. And then the last thing I made a couple little skulls. So he's a he looks all innocent, but oh boy, he's quite the guard dog. So I'm going to take my skulls and I'm going to glue them together. And then I'm going to do the same thing, where I'm going to have a little bit start to stretch out. Again, I'm not going to do it so that way it's very big. But make sure that those lines are cut up evenly, with the same length. And then just take a little bit of glue. On. So there we go. So I can take, if I had already done all of this, if I had done it, then I'd be done. I wouldn't have anything else to worry about. But I wanted to get the pop-ups and show you how to do all of those. So I still have a lot of coloring to do. I hope when you guys do all this, you create some amazing things. And yeah, maybe I should name him. I'll get to that another time. So I would have had all of this colored in, so that way he's all set. So that's my little Cerebus. That's my guard dog. So I hope that you enjoyed all of this, and I hope that you come up with a couple interesting ideas of your own.